We'll call it to order. So on Thursday, we'll have the roll call. Ms. Adams will have invocation by Allison Cornell.
You're gonna have to smack it louder.
Gavel.
Cool. Have a pledge of allegiance by Councilwoman Messmer. And go to acceptance of agenda. We have two proclamations. National Small Business Week by Mr. Tony Boone and Ms. Cameron. And also our Letter Carriers Food Drive Day by Janice Green. And then we have our city's manager's report, sir.
Yeah, a few items, Mr. Mayor. The State Route 90 sewer reroute project bids are due on Friday at 10 a.m. And then the Greenbrier Road and Four Winds Circle pavement replacement project bids are due May 7th. And that's part of our annual street maintenance. Speaking of that, the asphalt patching, crack seal, and liquid road sand seal projects are in progress. So you see them out there working. So hopefully we'll see some improvement there. The needs assessment for the municipal court contract is out for signature. And then, of course, the Nancy Brew Animal Control Center expansion project is underway with expected completion in September.
Thanks.
That's what I have tonight.
Thank you, sir. Any questions? Thank you. We move forward with our public hearing on resolutions 2024-2025. Staff report, Mr. Pregler.
Mr. Mayor and members of council, this is a request to consider the updated surface water master plan and associated code amendments to section 151.08.005 of the development code. Now, the proposed surface water master plan is the result of a study conducted by CMG Drainage Engineering in cooperation with the city's Public Works Department. The purpose of the plan is to guide the planning, construction, location, and function of surface water conveyance systems within Sierra Vista. Now, there have been a number of changes since the last adoption of the plan. Such changes include significant changes to some of the water courses, both natural and man-made, including channelization, roadway, culvert modifications, enlargement of detention basins on Fort Huachuca, and channel entrenchment. These changes warranted the need for the updated plan. So why is a surface water plan necessary? Well, development increases the amount of impervious surface within a watershed. An example of this impervious surface within an example of this increased impervious surface is the paving of parking lots. The impervious surfaces can cause more stormwater to run off from a developed site if detention is not provided. Now, stormwater leaving a developed site is generally concentrated as a result of the impervious surface. Once runoff has been concentrated, its impact on the environment becomes more pronounced. Concentrated flows have higher velocities, which increase erosion and sediment transport. However, with proper management, as will be provided in the surface water plan, the additional runoff created by development can be beneficial to the downstream ecosystems. Now, it's worth noting that the hydrologic modeling results in the plan have been used by the city for FEMA floodplain mapping and designing public infrastructure and land development projects since 2016. The new plan will be used for any future revisions to the effective FEMA floodplain maps and for design of private or public infrastructure within the WASH environments. Now, in addition to the surface water master plan, the council will be considering development code amendments to section 151.08.005. These proposed changes reflect the updates in the master plan so that both documents have consistent rules and regulations. These items were considered by the Planning and Zoning Commission on April 16th. The commission did vote unanimously to recommend approval to City Council. One member from the public did have some questions and comments regarding the surface water master plan, which staff did address. However, the member from the public was supportive of the document. This is a request for a 30-day public comment period, and further comments that are received during this time can be included in the document as necessary. We do have in the audience today members from our engineering department. Bryce Kirkpatrick and Irene Zuniga are here to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, sir. Any questions, comments? I know it's a long document.
I'll make some
Yes.
comments. Yeah, it's quite the document there. There's some things in there that I imagine we probably could spend a whole day kind of going over and discussing a lot of this stuff. It was really interesting. One thing that I learned about the concrete pieces that are put into some of these areas, I learned about the purpose of that, and that was pretty interesting. So it was really kind of cool to see, why there's certain things put somewhere, and like really the significance of some of the drainage problems and runoff problems and things like that. So that was really, really cool to kind of go through that. I definitely recommend that the public start getting on that as soon as it's posted, to get on that. I still got a little bit to go through, but I do appreciate everything that I've seen so far, and like the chart of some of the different washes that we have in town, and kind of how they go and where they feed into. So on Thursday, I'll probably have some additional comments and or questions. So yeah, I appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am.
I just want to thank Mr. Pregler and Mr. Patrick for answering all the questions that came up at Planning and Zoning. And there were a lot of good ones that were raised, not just by the commissioners, but by the member of the public that came with she opened up a laptop, she had a whole list of them. And you patiently answered every question to her satisfaction. I appreciate all the time that went into that, so thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yes, a lot of information in this document. Thank you for putting it all together. One thing that stood out was like the recommendations. If you ever need some more of this broken concrete, there's still broken concrete on Wilcox and 7th Street back there on state land. So take all the broken concrete you want to help with these
Good point.
propagating from the head cutting, from propagating to the upstream
Yes, sir.
reach. It's there, available for all those uses.
Excellent. Yeah, it was a good P and Z meeting, and thank you to the public for coming out. So, and thank you, Mr. Kirkpatrick, sir, for just your input. Thank you so much. No other questions? We'll go to Resolution 2024-26, staff report, Ms. Adams.
Mayor McCaw, members of council, as in past years, it is again the intention of the city to partner with Cochise County Elections Department and the Cochise County Recorder for election services. We do this through an IGA pursuant to state statute, and have for many, many years. It's been an excellent relationship between us and them. They basically do all of the nuts and bolts election day processing of ballots. They run the vote centers. They do all the tallying, all the hard work. Let's put it that way. We just get to sit back and have some fun. The current standing of registered voters is 31,224. So as it stands right now, at 75 cents a piece, we're looking at about $23,500. So my budget for 25 most likely will be blown on this election, because we pay by the voter. That is the only cost. It's 75 cents per voter. We do have some additional costs for the election this year that'll be borne by us for a voter information pamphlet for the general plan question. But other than that, this takes care of all of the other business of Election Day, and if approved, we'll send it back to the county, and they will do the same, and we will be partners again this year.
Excellent. Any questions, comments for Ms. Adams? All right, thank you, ma'am. Go to Resolution 2024-27, staff report. Chief Isaac.
Good afternoon, Mayor, members of council. With this resolution, I'm seeking approval of accepting our next iteration of Operation Stone Garden grant funds from the Arizona Department of Homeland Security in the amount of $111,763. That's for overtime reimbursement as well as mileage, which covers the wear and tear on our vehicles that we use. This also includes the employee-related expenses, so public safety personnel retirement contribution is also covered in the reimbursement. With this particular grant, now more than ever, this grant has become more closely connected to community safety because of the smuggling situation that we address and the fair to yields and the load vehicles. You may recall a couple iterations ago on the council executive report, I reported some data on our pursuits. We had a record number of pursuits last year by SVPD officers. One number that is actually starting to go down is the number of fair to yield requests for assistance by other agencies coming into Sierra Vista. I do attribute some of that to some proactive details south of our city that we're doing in conjunction with the Sheriff's Office and Operation Safe Streets. And then by doing that, we are actually safely stopping these vehicles in rural areas, a lot less traffic congestion, safer areas before they get into the city. And we're using Stone Garden grant money to fund our overtime to be involved in those. So I think it has a direct impact on community safety here in Sierra Vista. And with that, I'll take any questions.
All right, excellent. Yes, sir.
Just a comment. Thank you, Chief. Since we're talking about Stone Gardens, talking about the border, how many of the grapplers are in now, as opposed to how many were ordered?
So we have 8 grapplers. You'll see that one is actually on my vehicle, my Tahoe. I'm giving my Tahoe to patrol. It's going to be striped. I'm going to get a non-pursuit rated vehicle. This has to deal with, there's a short order on Tahoes. They're not available. We have 8. We've done the training with the company. And so we are in the process of writing a new policy so we can deploy them. But they're actually on the streets now. We're not going to use them until we get a policy written, which we're in the process of doing. Our next step in this is to get a train-the-trainer from the company, so we can have an in-house trainer who can actually provide the training, and one is evaluate the effectiveness of these grapplers in pursuits, and also to expand it with some more DEMA funds in future grants to put them on more vehicles.
All right, cool. Thank you, Chief. Appreciate it.
Other questions, comments?
Good question.
Thank you, Chief. Appreciate it. So that will be, we have a call to the public, comments and requests of council, and that'll be in adjournment of council session on Thursday. And today we'll proceed on, we'll go to item number B, which is the fiscal year 2024-2025 budget, personnel, capital, and O&M. Good afternoon, Jen.
Mayor and members of council. Today we'll review the progress we've made with O&M capital and personnel. This first slide is an overview of the general fund, so the numbers are as of now and will definitely change as we move toward the end of the process. So keep in mind this is with using old allocations that will be updated and the old PSPRS overtime that still needs to be calculated. So the 192,000 will definitely decrease. These are the O&M numbers for all funds and will definitely change as we work through the special revenue and the enterprise funds. So currently the fiscal year 25 O&M request is $31 million, which is a $241,000 difference from last year. The departments have been working really hard to keep their O&M requests level to last year. So I'll turn it over now to Councilmember Mesmer, who will discuss the following proposals.
Yeah, thank you, Jen. So the Arts and Humanities Cultural Diversity Commission is asking for $500 for a spring roll-off, and what that is it's going to be in May, and hopefully with something that the city's already doing, and because May is Pacific Islander Month, and so the idea is that we would hopefully get other restaurants to help donate, or we might have to purchase some different egg rolls, because even though an egg roll, each culture has a different egg roll, because a Korean egg roll is not the same as a Filipino egg roll, but that was the idea of that event, and we're looking for the funds to help support that thing. The Chalk Art Festival is, like at the West End Fair, we have a chalk thing, but we wanted to bring in chalk artists to help boost that section of the event and just add to obviously West Fest. So then I have 2 commissioners here, Rebecca DeLue and Gwen Calhoun.
So,
Any questions?
so the chalk art will be part of the West Fest?
Yeah, it could be, yes.
Okay,
What is $1,000 for?
for the chalk art,
For the artist,
for the artist?
for a professional chalk artist to come in. Okay.
Yes, most definitely.
Hello.
Come up to the mic.
Excuse me. Hi, yes. The Chalk Art Festival doesn't necessarily have to be part of the West End, the West Fest. It can be a separate event. I know that's how I envisioned it. I'm not sure if any of you have ever been to a Chalk Art Festival. They do them all over the country, and I believe they're usually city-sponsored. And it's usually a large space. I know that in the document that we put together, the proposal, we even talked about potentially using the beautiful sidewalks here in the City Hall complex to have the event. And you basically, you tape off squares, and people either register or come to the event, and they get a square and they get some chalk. And chalk is also included in that $1,000 because there's more than just paying for the artist. There's also going to be other costs, you know, the tape, the chalk, other things like that. I believe I have it written down in the proposal. But it could easily be a standalone event. That could be, you know, smaller or larger depending on what you'd like to do. Is there any specific questions I can answer? Because I can just talk. So stop me now.
Well,
Go
sorry.
ahead.
I've seen it done before at the Capitol up in Phoenix, and they need permits to do
Right.
it there. And I don't know how long it lasts, but I'm assuming you'd plan it.
Yes, usually
not
about 4
during
hours.
The summer,
Yeah.
rainy season.
Yes.
And then it would just be out for the public to appreciate after it was done, and it would just be a
Correct.
thing. Okay.
It could be something that people peruse and walk and take a look at because there'll be many, many squares. There'll also be some competition in there, you know, best of youth, you know, and the kids can compete for, you know, and best of adult, and maybe even people's choice where people can vote for their favorite square of art. And usually, you know, there's also a theme. So that's something that we're, you know, open to discussing, you know, whether it's something Sierra Vista, like show your love for Sierra Vista and then have people draw that, or we want to incorporate hummingbirds since that's our big thing right now. You know, but there could be a theme, but it could be a really great way to bring the whole community together because it's an all ages event. Plus, professional artists can even come and have an opportunity to show off what they can do. And of course, part of that money is to hire at least one professional to come out. I don't know if you've ever seen a professional chalk art before, but it's pretty impressive. It's really amazing. So to hire at least one to come out and demonstrate for everybody what it's like, and so people can crowd around and watch while they work their magic.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
For the professional chalk art, what's the thought of like how we preserve it as much as possible after they're done with it?
Well, with the professional chalk art, they'll come with their own chalk. It's not the typical chalk that the children or anybody else that we would provide. It's a different kind that I think stays a little bit longer.
Okay.
But I'm not exactly sure. That's a question that I would have to ask the professional artist.
Would you get the foot traffic as a standalone event rather than meshing with like West Fest?
I think it would do really well. They do well all over the place. I know I'm inspired by the hometown where I grew up. They do it every year, and it's usually very well attended. And if you do it right, there's still space for people to walk around and peruse and look. So some people may not even want to participate. They may just want to show up to see what everybody's doing. And depending on what we can afford, you know, we could possibly bring in food trucks, maybe some music. There's a lot of potential for making it a pretty cool event.
Any other questions? No other questions? All right, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
So is this a votable as far as?
We're just looking for a consensus, Mr. Mayor.
Oh, okay, looking for consensus.
Seems like a small ask
Yeah.
to add to it.
The 500, I think you can merge it with like the West Fest since we already had artists chalk art there, but that's just me.
And the sidewalks are bigger.
Sidewalks are better.
Correct.
I don't know, council?
I mean, I think they're great events. For what you just did their sexual awareness prevention month, Sappham Chalk Walk around the fort, and that's some really good. I mean, those look professional. There was a few of them. The top three that won were very, very good. So and those are just soldiers and people that work on Fort Huachuca that did a really, really good job. They're just good artists, but yeah, I think I agree with the mayor. Just obviously, where would this happen, so we get the most attendees and people to see it. Preferably somewhere they can go by, where it's not hidden somewhere. I guess in our city, just somewhere that's accessible. I guess easily accessible and like you said, walkable. Things like that. We'd have to figure out. I'd love to hear where that's going to be.
Yeah.
And that location. I guess the final location that gets decided on. And I love to see, public art is great. I love, people's creativity. And whether it's, like she said, the theme, hummingbird theme or something like that, is great. But I guess when I asked about preserving, like maybe, the other steps of, I know the chalk doesn't last forever. And I don't want anybody to feel like, you spent money on chalk that's just going to wash away. But like what I meant, like maybe like a photo, a nice, professional photo taken in a frame somewhere of this art. That way it lasts longer, and there is like here's the art. It's still around. They're not a piece of concrete anymore, but here's the actual piece done by the person. I guess is kind of what I was thinking. That's all I have.
And this egg and spring roll will be a separate event as well?
Probably so, and we haven't, they've decided that they wanted to try to do this, and we wanted to get it in the budget, so we were hoping that if you guys give us the consensus, that then we would work with, the library cultural, diversity part of the city to figure out, how we could tie in with something they might already be doing for Pacific Islander, and this would add to that event.
Oh, okay. All right, yeah, I like that one. All right.
And, it'd be educational because then they're also learning about the different ethnic backgrounds within the Pacific Islanders and, their culture and, their egg rolls. And that's always good.
All right. Your thoughts?
That's good. I know they've talked about this for a while.
Yeah.
This has been going around the Arts and Humanity Commission for a while now. So
Yes.
it started with foods you can eat with your hand to rolls, which is good. It's still the same other thing. Yeah, definitely bringing the awareness out there, and everybody loves food.
Everybody loves food.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
I do like the idea of the roll into spring. That even just that itself sounds really cool. And I think it would be really nice to have some sort of cultural diversity type of event going on, because I know that I've heard about there was like a fair years and years ago. And so I think it'd be really nice to have something going. And I know this would be a year from now. And I don't know if it'd be cool to have some, just because I know the Fort Huachuca, they always do things for each month. And I think that would be really cool if we could also do something as well, just to kind of, bring things together and people can learn about the different types of food and stuff. I think that would be really cool, because I know that the library, they have like the herb or whatever of the month or something, where there's like something in I don't know, it was like rosemary recently, and then people can learn about that and how to use it and stuff. So I think that's a really cool idea. So, yeah.
Yep, and that's what the commission is hoping to do when this was like, okay, this week, if we could get this one, then we could pick, something to just, again, add to something that the library or cultures department's already doing. We just need to add and make it just a little bit better.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Oh, good.
No.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, I'm just sitting here.
Oh, okay. All right. So the consensus of the council, yes, go
Yes.
forward, yes. All right. Yes, ma'am. Oh, yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Please go forward and plan.
So we're still working on the personnel numbers. This is our best estimate as of now. The The fiscal year 25 request number does include a 2% increase for full-time and part-time employees starting in July 2024. The increase for just full-time salaries itself is about $450,000, just to give you an idea. That doesn't include burden, part-time, overtime, any of that, so.
Oh, yes, sir.
Yeah, the current U.S. inflation rate is 3.48%. It was 4.98% last year. Are we going to stay competitive with our employees if we only give them a 2% step?
That is a great question.
Sir.
I'll try to tackle that. Thank you, Mayor McCaw, Councilmember Johnson. Frankly, no, is the answer. We're in a situation where the budget is tightening up pretty dramatically. Data is showing that the Valley cities will continue with higher raise rates than the 2% we're doing. So basically what's happening is we're striving to reach 100% of market, and we're starting to fall behind into the 95 to 100 range by doing this. If we do only the 2%, then that will probably continue to slip towards that 95% range. And this is not in all jobs, but in a number of job classifications. So there's some different things going on in different areas. But the answer is no. The issue is where's the money to come from if we do more, because then you're building that into the base. And the answer to that would be cutting back on capital items, and you'll be seeing those in a little bit later. So,
Well, see, that concerns me because the last time we were addressing this, we were being outbid by everybody up in the valley and in the Tucson area. And as I recall, I amended the motion from 2 to 4, and I think we had a lot of happy employees about that. I don't know if staff was happy about it, but it was a motion I put forth. And I'm just concerned that, we're taking another step backwards again, instead of being aggressive and maybe cutting back on some of the capital items, because our most valuable asset are our employees that provide service. And, we can't do without that. We've got have to have our trash picked up, our sewers checked, and I'm always concerned about employees. I know we're trying to keep, we're trying to catch up with the Bidenomics, but it's not working. So we've got to stay competitive, and that's one of my concerns. So I might, if this comes up for a vote, I might amend it. So.
well,
Be forewarned.
I guess all I'm saying to the council is, things are tight. You're already looking at sewer and refuse rate increases. We don't know what's going to happen in the legislature yet with regards to some of our revenue sources. So we're trying to be prudent. I think for the most part, our hiring has improved greatly across most areas of the city. Technical professional is still an area of concern with regards to the wages in those areas. So I try to look forward on these things, and when you build in raises, they're very important, but they also add to your base budget. And at some point, you may be sailing towards a sales tax increase of your own here within the next year or two. So, and nobody likes to do that either. So,
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Chuck.
So these are the new personnel requests that have made the list so far for fiscal year 25. The first is an ACO assistant. This will be the kennel tech needed for the animal control expansion. There's a graphic design position. This is a combination of 2 part-time employees, one that's retiring and one that's going to reduce her hours. Then Public Works anticipates an increase in blue stakes for the next 1.5 to 2 years, so they're requesting an additional wastewater worker. And for transit, the current workload is causing drivers to stay over. So if the routing study shows that less drivers are needed, then we'll attrit out in the future this position. Next, these are the reclassifications that are requested by the departments. HR will conduct a study, and then they came back to show that these increases are needed due to job responsibilities. So every year, HR will take 1/3 of all positions to go out to comparison with the rest of the cities. This year, all public safety positions were sent out. So from that list, these are the HR recommended reclassifications. So keep in mind that when I put here the annual difference, so the $31,595, that's the total difference for all three of those positions, not for each position. Any questions on this slide? Now we start the fund capital list. So the first one is the animal control expansion that was part of the strategic plan item, and it's a carryover from this year. The Citizen Serve software for community development is also a strategic plan item. Fire Station 2 bay door and parking lot expansion is related to last year's purchase, and that's also a strategic plan item. The ambulances, 2 were from previous fiscal year and 1 is from this year. They are scheduled to be delivered June 15th, but we have to have them in hand by June 30th for it to be considered this fiscal year. So that 2-week wiggle room, we have it on the carryover just in case. So VMP retractable movie screen and Len Roberts are all a part of the strategic plan. For the Len Roberts, the large playground was installed in 1999, so with wear and tear, it definitely needs an upgrade. And then the shade and tot turf are in conjunction with the playground.
Jen, I'm sorry. Is there a reason you skipped over some of the ones at the top, or
Those were not strategic plan items, but I have notes
you're
if
just
you need.
okay?
Yeah, some more clarification on them. Any questions on this slide?
Now, the parking lot expansion, is that the purchase of the property next door to Fire Station 2?
We purchased it this year, and so what they're going to do is they're going to modify the north bay doors so that the ladder truck can come that way. They're going to redo the parking lot and extend it out, redo the fencing, and then move the gate.
Okay, good, thank you.
So this is the HERF capital list. BST extension is a carryover from this year. So construction plans are anticipated to be finalized in the next few weeks. And this is being paid from the one-time offset from the state shared income tax revenue for fiscal year 24. So Fry and North Garden construction carryover for $4.5 million. $2 million of that was dedicated from the fiscal year 23 fund balance, and then the 2.5 is allocated this year. But if we receive the RAISE grant, then we'll determine a prioritized list of projects, and then that will be reallocated towards that. Excuse me. MLK reconstruction, the design is about 95% complete. The BST reconstruction phase 1, the appropriation has been awarded. We're just waiting for all the documents. Theater Drive carryover, the design is underway. I believe it's about 30% complete. And then the West End Improvement RAISE grant, we're going to reapply this year.
Or we did. We did. Okay.
Yeah. So these are the looks like it's missing the LTAF capital on the screen here. So I'll just talk about them real quick. So what you should have in your packet are the carryover items. We're still working through fiscal year 25's requests. So in the carryover items, the BST connectivity program, the design is about 30% complete. State Route 92 is about 95% complete on the design and pending advertisement. The pedestrian walkway connection the bid has been awarded. And then the connectivity and safety project, the design scope of work has been awarded. The transit master plan, the specs are still being developed. So just to give you a reminder that all capital items for LTAF is 80% grant funded, 20% city match.
So everything on that list is the 80-20 grant, okay. Because there was a little asterisk, but I didn't see it in the, so I'm like, maybe it's the whole list?
No,
Okay.
they're all capital, so they're
Great.
all 80/20. So the sewer enterprise fund capital lists are definitely going to change. So we're still going through those special spreadsheets that I talked about last time. But so far, we do have the carryover for the SR 90 Lolly construction. So the bids will be opening April 26th for that project. Oh, I apologize. Maybe I just mixed it in mine.
I'm sorry, since we have it, can you go back to the bus shelter enhancements? What are the changes being made to like the Walmart pad and other improvements and are they shade covers? What are they?
That one I'm not as up to date on.
So, Mr. Mayor, Councilwoman Humphrey, if memory serves on that one, that bus stop is obviously heavily utilized. That's one of the busiest bus stops in the city and has been under capacity for some time. So we would be looking at increasing the capacity of that bus stop. You're right, the shelters are always full. I believe there's some concrete cracking problems going on there as well, potentially creating some tripping hazards. So it would be an overhaul of that stop.
Okay, thank you. And then, is that all? Are all three of those related to that one stop?
Mr. Mayor, Councilwoman Humphrey, I don't believe they are. I believe that some of our other stops need some TLC as well.
Did one of them happen to be Hobby Lobby? I hear about that one all the time.
I am not sure on that
Okay.
one.
I can
look
get you
into
the
that.
list of where.
Oh, thank you.
Email.
Yeah. Okay.
I think one was the Sonic one too. The Sonic was,
Yeah, that
it
is
wasn't
another
conducive to the turn because of the cover or something like that, if I remember right.
Yeah.
The one, yeah.
Thank you.
Again, with the special spreadsheet, so these may change. So a new vehicle would cost about $325,000. So staff has assessed that the body for SV 2144 is too damaged, but the chassis is in great shape. So they can do a conversion for 125 and then still have a great vehicle. So the refuse camera and tracking system is not currently suitable for servicing our citizens. So they're requesting a new one for $30,000. And then they would like to purchase and install a new packer for a side loader. And that's currently showing major signs of deterioration, and that's for $40,000.
Can you tell us more about the camera tracking system?
Mr. Mayor, Councilman Rodriguez, so one of the most frequent complaints, concerns we hear from members of the public is you missed my garbage, I had it out, you didn't pick it up. And this system is a way that we have to confirm what time our driver went by and if the can was out or not. We've also used it in cases where there is a claim that our driver hit something. And so we have gone back to verify whether that actually happened or not.
Okay.
The issue with the current camera and tracking system is we sometimes have a delay of several days before we can retrieve videos. So if someone is saying that we hit and damaged their personal property, they would like an answer back from us with faster than this system is allowing us to return an answer to them. There have also been other issues with the system not delivering the information that we need.
Sharon, how many trucks do we actually have on a trash day on the road?
Mr. Mayor, Councilman Johnson, I believe on an ideal day, it's 7 or 8. On less ideal days, it can be 5 or 6
Right.
that are out on routes.
Now, the expenditure of this $30,000 for camera and tracking system would cover all those vehicles?
Mr. Mayor, Councilman Johnson, that's correct.
Okay. Got my answers.
More questions? All right.
Moving on to airport. So the feasibility study is underway. The next step would be the spaceport license. The automatic weather observation station has been requested for multiple years by the pilots. The airport master plan is a carryover still being worked on, and the expected carryover amount is actually less than what's listed there. The airport utility installation is the DSIP grant for the sewer line. And then reconstruction project near the self-serve fuel area, there's deterioration of the pavement that needs reconstruction. Any questions on airport?
Ma'am?
Spaceport's licenses are serious.
That's a serious cost, that's good.
So the capital improvements fund, so Fab Fry redevelopment carryover is in, I'm sorry, that should be the fiscal year 25 cost. The public sewer main line extension for OYCC to DP, the grant match is still in there. Roadrunner Park carryover. And then Roadrunner Park construction for $1 million. This is going to be the one-time offset from state income tax revenue that we'll receive in fiscal year 25.
So, go back to the spaceport license, is that is there gonna be a recurring fee for that, or is that just a one-time fee for $700K?
I believe it's one time. Mr. Boone's here and can go over the process with you here real quick.
Yes, sir, thank you.
All right, so Mr. Mayor, so it's a one-time fee to go through the full process, but understand that into the future, to maintain the license, it's every 5 years. What I don't know is what the re-up in between. A good chunk of that will be tied to the environmental.
Okay.
Because we've got to go through the entire NEPA process for the area. But again, the feasibility study will kind of frame that out. To be honest, that 700,000 is kind of the placeholder at this point, and that's actually one of the deliverables for the feasibility study.
Okay.
Tony, I've got a question. With respect to that, is that going to be going forward in the future? Is that going to be up to Black Star to take care of it, or is that going to be an ongoing city liability every 5 years?
Well, Councilmember Johnson, I would consider it not so much a liability, it's more of an asset.
Yeah.
But yes, so we own that portion of the fee. That does not mean that I cannot or we cannot roll that into the usage or the lease. We haven't gotten into those things yet. The expectation is those that would be using it would be paying for it into the future. So, but clearly I would consider it more of an asset than a liability, but there is a cost.
Yeah, I may have misspoke with respect to asset versus liability, because I know that they're going to be hiring a minimum of 50 people here, and it's awesome. It's just great. So, sorry I misspoke.
No, Councilmember Johnson, and really the intent, and I've been vocal about it, is we don't stop with just one. Clearly, 2 or 3 would be kind of the preferred method to this, and we've just got to work our way through that cost for the users of the airport and the users of the spaceport license.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, Mayor McCaw, Councilmember Johnson, to that point about it being an asset, I actually view it, even though it's going to end up being a piece of paper or a document that says you have a license, it's really a piece of infrastructure that's necessary to bring businesses like this to the airport. So re-upping it would be like a maintenance cost that we would incur by doing that. But without the license, you have no Black Star.
Right.
So,
Right.
so it's very
Exactly.
important to have this. So.
Thank you. Sorry about that.
That's okay. Any questions on the capital improvement fund list?
Special project, I'm sorry if you said, I missed what it was.
That's a placeholder from the FY23 fund balance.
That's the $1 million that the council voted on. Remember, we had the $5.8 million fund balance, and $1 million of it was set aside into the capital improvement fund. But no specific project has been called out against it yet.
Oh, okay, thank you.
It was the urban, what was the name of that money. It was urban something, right?
Is the,
That $1 million, that's part of the urban something, something, something.
No, it's
no,
from
that-
the fiscal year 23 fund balance.
Oh, okay, so fund balance.
yeah, that was mentioned, Jen mentioned that portion earlier for Roadrunner Park. That's the $1 million set aside to start the
Okay.
Roadrunner Park construction.
Okay.
This is from the fund, last year's fund balance.
Plans and specs were approved for the new fire hydrants, and water design report is pending approval. So once Liberty approves, it'll go to ADEQ for permitting. So we're going to carry over this project to fiscal year 25. The vehicle list is short and sweet this year. So the first one, we're taking 3 Crown Vics out of the City Hall rotation, and we're replacing it with 1 Equinox. The fire department needs a new pumper truck, so we'll finance this one if needed. 1 truck is needed for parks, and then we're requesting 5 new police Tahoes. Any questions on vehicles?
Are we leasing some of these, or are we financing, like the Tahoes?
So far, we've been able to pay it outright if we get them in stock.
Okay.
Yep. We have the option to finance Councilman Johnson, but we prefer to cash out at higher interest rate levels that we're currently experiencing if we can. If we needed to free up cash, we would look at financing. Chief Heiser mentioned his Tahoe, and there are issues with ordering Tahoes right now. Same goes with the pumper truck. We're looking at long lead times for purchase right now. So we're also looking at potential changes to the police fleet. You notice DPS using pickups, and those kind of things that are outfitted. So we're taking a look at those options too if this persists to be a problem. Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
So the next step in the process is we're still meeting with departments to fine tune all their numbers, and then we'll balance the remaining funds, and then you'll have a complete tentative budget book by Memorial Day. So your first work session in May will have the balanced budget, and then one-on-ones early in June.
Looking forward to it.
Are there any questions?
No questions? No questions, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, now we go report on recent trips, meetings, and future meetings.
I'll share one.
Yes, ma'am.
So the next Transportation Commission meeting will be May the 1st, which is a Wednesday at 3:30, and it will be here upstairs in the conference room. So if you can make it, definitely do that. You can also check it out online as well, but you're welcome to come. May 1st, 3:30 upstairs in the conference room.
Yes, sir.
The Environmental Stewardship Commission will be meeting on Wednesday in the conference room right around the corner here at 4 o'clock. So any interested individuals are welcome to attend. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Yep, the Tourism Commission will meet May 6th at 1 o'clock at the Oscar Room Community Center. And the Arts, Humanity, Cultural Diversity Commission will meet on May 8th also at the Oscar Room Community Center at 4:30, sorry.
Any others? Move to item number D, future discussions, items, and council requests. Ma'am?
Thank you, Mayor McCaw. Right now, all I'm tracking is getting ready to present your balanced budget on the 9th. So.
Great.
And
Excellent.
just to add to that, the CCOM director will be here to present the CCOM recommended budget that will end up being included in ours as well. And she is doing the same thing for the Board of Supervisors. We'll be voting, the JPA board will be voting on the recommended budget on the 1st, prior to your meeting.
All right. Thank you, ma'am. Any other questions, comments? We are adjourned. Thank you.